How to build the perfect 3-day-a-week training program. Despite what a lot of douchebag PTs and coaches will tell you on Instagram, if you don't go to the gym 5 days a week, that does not mean that you do not want it enough. It also doesn't mean you can't build a good bit of muscle and get stronger. You can build biceps big enough to fill out your shirt sleeves just with 3 days in the gym. 3 days a week is plenty to get your arms filling out your sleeves and actually building a chest that's bigger than that of a 7-year-old boy's. But what training split should you follow? Should you do push-pull legs, 3 full body sessions? How many exercises per muscle group should you be doing? And how many sets of each exercise? And how many reps in each set? It's all so confusing if you don't know what you're doing. But that is what I'm here to sort out for you. I am going to give you the exact blueprint I use with my guys when I design their training programs. What do I mean when I say I'm writing up training programs for my guys? Well, I'm John and I've been a coach for well over 12 years and I've helped countless guys find their feet in the gym and get back into the swing of training. I've written up training programs for guys to help them go from struggling to deadlift 40 kilos to deadlifting over 180 kilos. Going from struggling to do 2 bodyweight press-ups to bench pressing over 100 kilos. And they've been able to do all that while still losing their love handles, ditching the beer belly, and actually getting to a point they feel class no matter what they're wearing when they're going out for a night out with their pals or when they're going on a date night with their missus. And if you want a bit more help stopping looking like a melted marshmallow and actually looking like someone who looks after themselves, you can get plenty more advice just like this by liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and giving me a follow on Instagram at John Coaching. First, what training split would I advise for a 3-day-a-week program? Well, you've probably heard that push-pull legs is the best split you can follow, which isn't wrong, but only if you are doing more than 3 sessions a week. Ideally, you want to be hitting each muscle group, specifically the ones you really want to improve on, at least twice a week. And if you're doing push-pull legs, you're only hitting each muscle group once a week. So my advice would be to do an upper body, upper body split. Unless you are an absolute psychopath and want to train legs twice a week, then go for upper body, full body. But I'm going to assume you're a little bit normal, so in this video we're going to talk about the upper, upper split. Train legs by walking anyway, so that's plenty. And if you are trying to lose a bit of weight, training legs twice a week can actually be a little bit detrimental, but that's not for today. You'd need a full Michael Bay film for me to talk about why you shouldn't train legs. So we're going to go off the upper, upper split. But before we go into more detail about what exercises you should be doing or how many sets, how many reps you should be doing, if you want to see what my training programs are like that I write up for my guys, you can get that in a free 4-week taster of coaching just by hitting the link below. To make sure you're not in the gym for hours on end, I would recommend hitting 2 exercises for chest, 2 exercises for back, and then on your first upper body day, I would do 2 shoulder exercises and an arms, bicep and tricep superset. Then on the second upper body day, again, 2 chest exercises, 2 back exercises, 1 shoulder superset, and 2 bicep and tricep supersets. The reason you would do more chest and back exercises than shoulders and arms is because when you are doing your chest work, you're pushing. So you are still working on the shoulders and triceps a little bit there. And when you're doing your back work, you're pulling. So you are working on your rear delts and your biceps as well at the same time. So that way you're still hitting all 3 heads of shoulders, your biceps and your triceps when you're doing your chest and your back work. And because those muscles tend to be a little bit smaller, it's easier to get them fried. So you don't need to put as much focus on them. And how many sets should you be doing? Across the week, you only need to be doing as few as 10 sets, up to 20 sets per muscle group across the week, which means you only actually need to be doing 3 working sets per exercise. When you're doing your arm superset on upper body day 1, you could do 4 sets there. Same with when you're doing the shoulder superset on upper body day 2. Do 4 sets there just to make sure you are hitting that 10 sets per week. But what about your leg day? When it comes to training legs, you want to make sure you are getting at least 1 squat movement in there, whether that's a barbell back squat, barbell front squat, hack squat, pendulum squat. It's entirely up to you. Personally, I prefer the hack squat because I feel a lot more stable and it's not my lower back that's given out first. You also want to make sure you're getting one hip hinge movement like an RDL. And because these are the bigger compound movements, you'd ideally get those two movements done right at the start of the session when you're a lot fresher. I would then make sure to add some form of leg press in there because for me, it's the best movement to build big, strong quads. And because a leg press is a big compound, it incorporates your hamstrings and your glutes in there as well. Again, giving you that stability so you can push a little bit harder than you would on a back squat, for example. Then I would always make sure to incorporate some form of single leg movement just for general health, general body function, for performance in sport. Something like a lunge split squat, a Bulgarian split squat if you really hate yourself. And then you would definitely still want to get that bit of isolation work in there, especially for your hamstrings. So chucking a leg curl, leg extensions are great as well, especially for hypertrophy because it really, really isolates those quads. You can chuck in some calf raises as well if you want, but they're not that essential. Again, you work your calves plenty just from walking. And again, you only need about 3 sets per exercise. With a single leg one, you might even be able to get away with 2 sets. Now, how many reps should you be doing? For about 80% of your set, you want to keep the reps between 8 and 12 reps. And then you can have 1 or 2 sets where you go up to 15 plus reps, 1 or 2 sets which are heavier and maybe 3, 4, 5 reps. A good way to do it would be like have one of your big compound lifts, like a bench press, where you do 2 heavy sets of like 5, 6 reps and then a back off set of 15 to 20 reps. So that way you're ticking off the reps that are outside of the 8 to 12 range all in that one exercise for the week. And then the rest of your chest exercises, you can just stick to that 8 to 12 rep range. And of course, just look to progressively overload every single week. I'm sure you've seen things about drop sets, AMRAP sets, rest pause sets, and you're probably wondering, when should you add all that stuff in? And before I tell you, if you want to see how I get my guys slowly getting better with training, slowly getting more comfortable so they can get that little bit more advanced, you can get a free 4-week taster of coaching, which comes with a free training program as well, just by hitting the link below. Drop sets, rest pause sets, AMRAP sets, they're all just little extras that you can add on to your training just to push yourself a little bit harder and make things a little bit more difficult. If you feel you've got good experience in the gym and you want to test yourself that little bit more, add some in, crack on. They're a good way as well for getting extra sets in when you're a little bit tight for time. But if you're newer to the gym, just focus on getting strong, getting good at performing your basic exercises without worrying about all the fancy extras. Because you can still get strong and build a decent bit of muscle without drop setting yourself into an oblivion. And finally, how long should you be resting between sets and exercises? The most important thing is that you don't think you need to rest for less than a minute to keep your heart rate up to burn more calories. That is what cardio is for. Anywhere between 2 and 3 minutes in between sets is absolutely perfect because it will give you enough time to recover so you're still able to try and hit the same reps with the same weight in every single set, and there's not a massive drop off from set 1 to set 2. And when it comes to the big compounds, you might need that little bit more, especially when you're doing things like a heavy bench press, heavy squat, heavy deadlift. You might need anywhere up to 5 minutes. Just don't take that long, you cool down and your muscle seize up, because that's a very quick way to get injured. So those are the principles I use to write up training programs for my guys and get them hitting PBs in the gym almost every single week. And if you want more help just like this video, subscribe to the channel and give me a follow on Instagram at John and Jeannie Coaching.